virus stuff to get you out of the copyright.
Hi, everyone. It's a Thursday night, 9 o'clock. It's time for the Handicap rugby chat that matters. Well, we've got a good few weeks of rugby up ahead. Lots of rugby to have a look at this weekend. I'm going to start off straight away with a bit of a disclaimer, or let's call it advice, and say, guys, this isn't all. Everything from now on is all about building to the Rugby World Cup, which starts in about 34, 35 days' time. So, yes, we're going to talk about the betting. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy. But in the words of a great punter I haven't spoken to for quite a while, these are not the sort of games that you stick granny's pension on. And on that note, let me introduce a man. I know many of you have been asking where he is. Well, we've got him back here. He's helping me out tonight, and I'm sure he's going to be want to be back, though, when the World Cup proper starts. We're going to have lots of videos on the go. It's Oracle Rugby, Oraclepedia on Twitter, and Gavin Cohen to me personally. Gav, great to have you back on the show, mate. How you been keeping?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Brent. I wouldn't call it Twitter anymore. I think it's called X.
Yes.
I did read some stuff during the week how people that are living across the road from the building, there was a crane and they had to stop the traffic and they had to remove the X from the building because he didn't get permission. It's a big farce. But yeah, listen, Elon Musk, he's obviously done what he's done and he's irritated. I mean, I've always said if somebody's got to the top of an industry or the top of a business or the top of any kind of thing, he's had to piss people off to get there. You don't get there shaking hands and thanking people all the way. So yeah, you're right, Brent. I haven't been around for a while. I've been Mark Dumphy. How's it, guys? I've been quite playing. I have had a reasonably good run, then I had a bad run, then a good run and a bad run, and it's just, I just haven't got my head out of the water yet. Or should I say my head's out of the water, my body's not out of the water. So whilst I've had some good weeks, I've also had some bad ones, and I haven't quite called it right. And I'll tell you, before we even talk about this weekend's rugby, I'll give you a couple of examples. I've stepped into territories I don't normally do. This Australia-New Zealand game. So I'm looking around, I'm looking for value. I don't know what to do in the game. So I know I've always backed Australia plus. Occasionally I've gone on New Zealand minus. I didn't know what to do on the weekend. So I look at, and I find this bet under 7.5 tries. And it's over even money. It's like 11 to 10, 11.5 to 10. And I think, all right, I'll go for this. So I've got my notepad next to me, got my pen, and first try was obviously very early in the game. Second try was early, and I'm writing down, how many points there could be, and so and 60.5 is what they were counting. They were doing 60.5 at 9 to 10, or 61.5. It was around about there.
Yeah, I was thereabouts. Yeah.
Yeah, and 7.5 was under 7.5 was over even money, and over 8.5 was over even money. In other words, they were expecting 8 tries. Yes. So I go under 7.5. And I'm watching and I'm writing down. And at halftime, there's 4 tries because they got that try right at the end of the first half. Second half, boom, 1-2, done. We had 6 tries already. We're in huge trouble here. And they score another try at the 60, I think it was 67 or 68th minute. Yeah. And I thought to myself, am I going to survive 13 minutes with no try? What do I do? But before that bet, actually, so I was expecting it. I was expecting the 7th try. So I go over 44.5 at halftime, and I go over, 41.5, and I go over 43.5. And I know Henrik's probably listening to this and watching, and he's thinking, Oracle, you're not a points punter, and I'm not. I ended up winning the 41. I won the 43, and of course I won the under 7.5 because that was the last try. There wasn't a single try. And I remember the commentator looking at Richie Mwanga and going, what do you want to do with that penalty at the 80 minutes and 48 seconds or whatever? And he looked at his teammates and they said, no, let's kick it out. And obviously that's a decision teams make when they're so far ahead, which New Zealand were. And the reality is, to avoid all of that, people say to me, what do you want to bet on tennis? And I tell them it's a roller coaster of hell. And that unders, overs, try bet and points, I've got to tell you, I don't know how you guys do it every week because I don't. That was a roller coaster of hell. I might as well have bet on a tennis match I knew nothing about. I would have got the same rush and same reaction. All I had to do was take minus anything New Zealand and would have arrived. Now we got a handicap. You've got it on the screen here, 22.5. I'm going to tell you, I don't know what to do here, Brent. This is a friendly game, and as soon as people tell me it's not a friendly, it is an international, and it does mean something. So don't get me wrong here, but I always remember that Cornet Cricket, and I've read his book, and I got him to sign the book. I met the guy a few weeks ago. He had this farewell game at Newlands, and I remember the bookmakers were betting on it, and I was obviously involved in the industry, and I thought, all right, well, everyone else has got a price, let's go. And these guys had these funny rules. They had people coming on and off. They had water boys, and they had all sorts of stuff. They had 16 oaks on the field, and they had 14 oaks on the field. And it was an absolute shit show. And I got to tell you, this weekend's 2 games, this is pocket money stuff. Don't dig deep into bank accounts. Don't make deposits. This is, if you've got money lying around in an account, have a go. But honestly, these kind of games, and as Brent alluded to earlier, any games going up to the World Cup, they trial games. They want to know. I mean, my kid plays club rugby, and he'll tell you, they're trying these moves tonight. I'm going, do you not want to win the game? No, they're trying these moves. They want to win next week's game or the week game after that. You've got to be very careful with this kind of stuff. 22.5 is a lot. New Zealand can win by 40, as they almost did this last weekend. I was very surprised Australia even scored a try. 60 points, I don't know. All I can tell you is, if you want to have a small punt, take New Zealand minus here. Don't get involved in points. Don't get involved in tries unless you enjoy the roller coasters. If you like Goldie City, this is the kind of game for you.
Yeah, I must say, of all the games, and I agree with you exactly what you said. I mean, none of the games, even this game is a Bledisloe Cup game, but obviously New Zealand, by winning last week,
got it already, correct.
Bledisloe Cup for the 21st consecutive time, I think. But so I've looked at this game, and I, as I say, won't be getting too involved. I can tell you just handicap-wise, I thought 28.5 with the handicap. It came out at 24. The reason it shifted in a couple of points is New Zealand, exactly to your point, they've made a number of changes. I mean, Mwanga's on the bench. They've got D-Mac starting there. Nice to see Stevenson starting on the wing for them. So a lot of team changes. They obviously, all of these teams are going to want to give all of their players a decent run so that they don't have guys lacking match fitness come the World Cup. But even then, I must admit, I am leaning probably towards New Zealand on the cap. But the bet I like here, and it's a slightly different price to what he posted on the forum, because he obviously got on really early. But Southpaw came in and he said he likes Australia over 16.5 points. That was at even money at the time. I've now seen 18.5 points Australia. Now, I think this game has been played obviously in Dunedin. We know conditions are going to be perfect. It's under the roof. New Zealand are going to run in tries. I've got almost no doubt about that. But I think that Australia, I like the team that they picked. I like Gordon at the fly half. I like McDermott at 9. And I think that Australia are going to score points here. So my bet, Gav, in this game, Australia, 19 points or more. If you take that and you follow, you can sit with your notepad and go through all the stress that I'm going to go through, because sometimes Australia can not look like scoring at all, but I think they're gonna run in 20 points plus this weekend.
Brent, I hear you, and I'm going to say I agree with you, and then I'm going to say, but they haven't shown us that they can score 18 points in a game. Yes, they scored them against Argentina, and I actually won on that game. I took a bet during the match. In fact, it was 10-0 to Argentina when I backed Argentina, and I know if Sean Nicholas Ruggabug is watching this, he's going to go, what are you doing? You're going, at the other extreme of the game. And obviously nearly lost. Australia scored right at the end, and then Argentina scored right at the end after that to win the game. But that game I also wasn't sure. I didn't know what to do after watching. I'd backed Argentina on the plus against New Zealand, obviously got thumped. I backed South Africa on the minus against Australia. In fact, I took a bigger minus. I took I think minus 21, minus 25. It arrived. So that was a nice win for me. And obviously the Argentina game was later. And I was puzzled after that. I'd won money on South Africa, lost it on Argentina. I didn't know what to do the next week, but I backed Argentina to win that game during the game. So it was an in-running bet. But I'm not convinced. I don't know how Australia scored more than 10 points in any of these games. Never mind that one. I mean, I hear you, but I just can't see it. I just can't.
Farid.
I can't go into my wallet and go, Australia. I'm looking at Farid Manuel's comment now.
Yeah.
I agree. I can't see him going over 10. If they'll be lucky to get a try, Brent. I'm going to say you and I for a case of beers. I'm not going 500s, 2000s, and I'm going to do the same as I did with Henrik. This is a bet. You and I, we will drink the case of beers together. Just one of us is paying for it. Simple as that. That's
okay. 100%. We got that. 19 points. I win. 18 or less. You win. We got a case of beer bet.
And it's a case of beers we will drink together. No bank transfers. None of that crap. One of my mates, I took a beer bet with him like 10, 15 years ago. And he said to me, Gavin, it was worse than paying you. I said, what do you mean? He said, I had to get in my car and I had to go to the bottle store and buy the beers, carry them to the car, and then I had to watch you drink them. He said that was worse than pushing an EFT to you.
Brilliant. Yeah, okay, case of beer on that one, Gav. Let's go on to the other game now. I'm jumping the order around a bit because I'm going to cover some of the smaller internationals very, very briefly, and we'll touch on the Six Nations games, if I can call them that. But here we got Argentina against South Africa. Now, Argentina last week, Gav, I must tell you one thing, good riddance to the Rugby Championship. I had an absolute nightmare. I won on one game, and that was scrape time. I had Australia over 30.5 against Argentina, and they scored 2 late tries to deliver that one. But I really did badly. In particular, the Bok games I couldn't call well. Argentina plus 4.5 here last week. The Boks looked to be heading early doors towards a comfortable victory, and in the end, they were absolutely hanging on to just beat Argentina. If you had to look at that game, if you study this form like you study a horse race, which we all know doesn't work out in rugby, but if you looked at it that way, you'd say they're now going over to Argentina, and South Africa have also, testing a few combinations and all the rest. Is this not a game that Argentina can win?
Brent, when you asked me to come on the show tonight, or you asked me if I was available, I remember that night I was sitting in Assegai in my house, and I was wearing my Argentina shirt, and Henrik was on the show, and he had his fireplace behind him. And he got cross with me that night because I said to him, Argentina are going to win. And that's the game they won against South Africa. I think it's 2017 and 2018. Can't remember. It was a while ago. This is the same one. I say Argentina win this game on the board. Will I put mountains of money on? Absolutely not. But I'll tell you why I think this is going to happen. Russie's just released a book now, and I'm looking at my library here. I've got 5 shelves of sports books here. A lot of them signed by people when I've met them. I'm not buying Russie's book. Why am I not buying it? Because it's not finished yet. He's not finished. He's got 10 years, 15 years. I don't want to buy the Oaks book when he thinks he's ready. He's trying to make money. Maybe he needs to pay rent. Maybe he's in trouble with a farm in the Free State somewhere and he needs some cash. I'm not buying that book now. I'll buy it when he's actually finished his career because I'm going to get this book's information and whatever happens after that. This going to Argentina now is 100% a trial game for them. They're going to try positions. They're going to try moves. They're going to try all sorts of things. Yes, can they win? Of course they can win the game. But Argentina are going to look at this game and say, you know what? South Africa are going to try a few things here. Let's play this game properly. Let's do our normal startup game and we'll have a go. I'm going to say never mind +4. That's probably 15-10 or 18-10 to win the game on the board. Take Argentina to win this game on the board and watch the game and enjoy it. And don't put a lot of money on it. Backing South Africa here is going to be a roller coaster. You're not going to be happy to ride. The wheels are going to slip. You're going to see the attendants going, hang on, that little divot thing needs to be put back in place. You don't want that. Just back Argentina on the board or watch the game and don't have a bet. Don't back South Africa here. This is a trial match for Rassie and Jacques Ninama and whatever. In fact, Farid's a game. Take a bigger minus, Argentina. I agree. Take a bigger minus. Yeah. Take a bigger minus and go for the 2-1s or the 5-2s or the 3-1s and enjoy the game. I don't know what time it is, Brent, but I suspect it might be an earlier game, maybe even a day game.
I think it's 9:10 or something like that.
9 o'clock at night. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, the Australia-New Zealand game is at 4. I think the guys can come in at 3:35 and 4:35. That's flipping early, eh?
The last time I watched a 4+4 game with South Africa, I know we've had Australia and New Zealand games, but the last time I watched South Africa play at 4+4 in the morning was when MultiChoice didn't know that they were in control. And I was living in Mozambique at the time, and I remember getting up early in the morning with coffee and watching the game. Those are the 90s. I don't think we've had South Africa hasn't played a 4:30 in the morning game since it's 25 years
since the
that
flower
happened.
bomb. I mean, they have played probably one in the 90s or so, but I remember when we went over for the 81 tests, and I mean, I was a lighty then. I'll never forget the flower bombs and stuff coming over. Those were getting up early in the morning. I must say, there was nothing better in those days. International rugby was so rare. I remember my dad getting me out of bed at 4 a.m. to watch it. You were so excited. I mean, at the moment, okay, obviously South Africa aren't playing, but look, I probably will be up for this one, but I'm not relishing the prospect of climbing out of bed at 4 a.m.
Well, you don't. Well, today, Brent, we don't have to climb out of bed. We just pull out the old cell phone and watch it on. You can watch it in bed. And I used to be one of those people that had a TV in my bedroom, and I took it away because I realized other things should be happening in the bedroom. So I put the TV elsewhere. So I'll watch on my phone if I have to. It's no problem. But South Africa multi-choice.
I trust you meant sleep thing, Ev.
Sorry?
I trust you meant sleep when you said other things should be happening.
Of course, you can sleep during whatever you want to do.
Listen, just a quick one on points. I had a look at the weather in Buenos Aires. It doesn't look bad. I mean, what sort of? I guess there's two ways. I'm sort of looking at it. On the one hand, teams are going to want to maybe not show all the attacking options in these games, but on the other hand, perhaps defensively they may not be as switched on. I think at 50.5 points. I know last week's one was a low-scoring one, but I think we might get over the 50 here. Any views on that?
I'm going to say that this is probably right, and if anything, it should probably be I'd say the value is actually with lower, because I don't, especially kicks in these friendly games. I don't know that they go all out with their kicks. I think they try different things. They're looking at the wind. I don't know. I'm just wary of these kind of games. I don't like them. They don't count. I know that the normal July and November, June internationals and end of year tours or whatever we call them, those mean something. These games don't mean anything. These are the bottom of the rung of anything that means anything in international rugby, and they've got to play, and they've got to play fairly, and they've got people watching them. But still, this is quarter unit stuff. This is not quarter, eighth, 1 stroke 8. That's what you go here. You don't go bigger than that.
Yeah, I'm thinking from next week even cover the games, but maybe start looking at the World Cup a little bit, in terms of some of the groups and stuff like that, because ultimately that's what it's all about. Farita's saying Argentina do tend to take their penalties, and that's a good point. I think even in a friendly, they may continue. Gav, you made the point. Do play as you normally do against the Box, then they will. I think for them a win will mean a lot. So yes, Farita, I agree with you there. They could well take the points. But anyway, as you can hear, none of us overly confident. My reasoning, aside from the fact that they're friendlies, is I'm coming in rugby-wise in pretty bad form. I've done okay in a few other sports, although I lost a netball bet today, unfortunately. Gav, there's a few other internationals. I'm just going to skim through. I know you wouldn't have had a chance to have a good look at these. Any of the guys in the live chat can give their feelings. But Scotland, France have obviously named. I mean, you wouldn't normally get Scotland favourite against France. France have obviously rested a lot of their top players. There's no Dupont there and that sort of stuff. So we got the Scotland -2.5 handicap, which you're not going to see should these sides meet in the World Cup quarterfinals, for example. And we got a points line here of 45.5. Anything there? Any thoughts on this one?
Well, I think straight out, Brent, is that France have lost their opportunity of beating the world record of wins. So once they lost that game against Ireland, or let me put it this way: had they beaten Ireland in that game, this game would have been. They would have played it. They would have gone for it because it counts. In these cases, it counts. And I know Teichmann was the one at 18 on the South African team. I think it was Richie McCaw was involved in the New Zealand one when they got to 18 or 17. I can't even remember what the number was, but France were very close to beating that. And when they lost that game against Ireland, it's almost like, I don't know, anything in life where you have a record or a run, and when you lose it, you go, I don't know if I want to go and try and get that right now. I've got other things to worry about. So, This obviously depends on the team that they're playing, the team that they're putting out, France. But can Scotland beat France? I mean, the last time they beat them was a couple of years ago, I think 2020 or 2021. It just, again, this is, I wouldn't, I mean, it's crazy. I still remember the day in I think it was 2018 or, 2017, 2018. Scotland played France. France were -6. Scotland were +6 at home, and I won. They lost by 6, and I had a big bet on that game. But I can't get involved in this. This is
Actually, I like the French a bit here, though, Gab. I agree with what Farid says. There's a hell of a lot of depth in French rugby at the moment, and I can imagine. You try and put yourself in the guys who are going to be playing their hearts out this weekend are the guys who are on the fringe of World Cup selection.
Right, so I've actually got something to say with that.
First team selection, eh? Do you agree with that?
I do. And I'm going to tell you, instead of having a punt here, rather use this as we are punters, and I will do the same. Rather use this game and say, let me watch the players. Let me actually make notes in this game. So don't put any money on it, and use this game and actually make notes and say, write down what you think would have happened before the game. You want to have $100 on it, to please yourself. But these games actually are good for us as punters for the World Cup because we can find things analyzing games. So I'm going to say, you know what, instead of trying to make money in these next 3 or 4 weeks, try and analyze the stuff and see what it means to you for the World Cup. And that might be worth more than trying to win money on these games. That's how I would look at it.
I think that's good advice. But I must say, and Johan Esthuizen mentioned, he thinks there could be points in this game. Now, I know there's a little bit of rain from what I can see forecast for Murrayfield, but Johan, that was exactly my thought when I saw this points line of 45.5. If this was a Six Nations game, I'm saying 45.5. If anything's probably slightly too high for this fixture, probably go 42.5. But this being a game where you've got a France team going out there, going to play some rugby. I mean, Jalabert Farid, I agree with you, he's an excellent player as well. So it's not like France have got a weak team there. They've actually got some very strong players. So I'm looking at 45.5. So what will that take us to? 22. So we'll probably get France around about 21.5, 20.5 points. That would be my bet for this game.
Yeah, that'll be 21, 23, 22, 20, 23, that kind of number. Yeah.
Somewhere around that number. So that's what I'll be looking at there. Just want to see this comment of Farid saying good analysis there. Let's move on to the next game then. It's Wales against England. Here we got a points line of 49.5. I'm assuming, and I don't know this for 100% certainty, but I'm assuming the roof will be closed at the Millennium Stadium, in which case we can assume that conditions will be good. I did look at the weather forecast just in case, and there did appear to be a bit of rain about, but very surprised if they don't close the roof. And if anyone knows the final decision on that, hopefully it's been made. They can let us know in the comments. But here we got Wales underdogs against England at home. And fair to say, Gav, that both of these teams are coming off a disappointing Six Nations campaign and will want to start showing some positive steps towards World Cup. On the other hand, they've both got pretty decent World Cup draws as well. You could well see these sides in the semi-finals of the World Cup. What do you think here? Are we going to get a tight game?
This is the lucky four, Wales, England, Argentina, and Australia. The lucky four on the other side of the draw. I don't know if you can call Wales's Six Nations a disappointing run of events. I think they just beat Italy, and that was the only game that they won. Look, they under 20s look very good for the future after being down against Georgia. I lost on that game, and that's why I remember it. But yeah, that Welsh team came back from the bush in Paul Gym School and came back. But yeah, 5.5. This is another game that can go any single way. Nothing stands out here for me. And this is rubbish versus rubbish of Europe, upper tier, and they're on the lucky side of the draw. So yes, one of these two teams could ultimately be in the final. In fact, Argentina, Wales have never been in a final. Australia obviously have. England have. I think England have been in 3 finals and they've won 1 tournament. Australia have been in two finals and 1-2. They haven't lost a final yet. So yeah, this is I'm going to say one more thing quickly. We don't have a fly-off at the moment, South Africa. I don't know what's going on with Handré Pollard. And we remember the conversation 4 years ago when we discussed value and backing the South African kicker, because the South African kicker, whether it's been Morné Steyn, Montgomery, whoever it is, Handré Pollard, they've always they've won the most points. I'm itching to get that bet, but I don't know who I'm backing at this point, because we don't have a fly-off yet. I mean, we're fiddling with all sorts of players. I mean,
we're expecting Pollard to be fit, though. Eh?
Yeah, we're expecting it. Brent,
no doubt they'll probably manage him.
Lost yet?
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. So, I'm going to say, if you want, never mind, analyze the players in the games this weekend. I'm saying, you want to win money in this World Cup, start looking at who's going to make it to the final between Wales, England, Australia, and Argentina. Those are the games. Those are the teams you should be concentrating on, because one of them is going to be in the final. It's as simple as that. That's how the
what makes you say that, Cap?
Because of the way the draw has worked.
But it doesn't mean. Am I right in saying that? Let's just say that 2 of those 4 teams make it to the semi-finals. Would I not be correct in saying they've then got to meet the 2 teams from groups A and B at that point? In other words, they don't go all the way to the final with the easy draw. They're easy and they've got a good draw till the quarter. But when they're in the semis, let's just say one of them will play France or New Zealand or South Africa. I think you guys can confirm that.
Yes, mm-hmm. I suppose that the 2 teams that come out of the France, Ireland, South Africa, New Zealand side of the track could ultimately meet each other. But the value for me is on the other side, is on the Wales, England, Argentina, and Australia side. I just think the value is there to get to the final. So there'll be final betting and there'll be semi-final betting. I think our side of the draw, South Africa, Ireland, New Zealand, and
Scotland, Ireland, South Africa, France.
France, Ireland, South Africa, New Zealand on one side.
Yeah, well, and Scotland, the top 5 teams in the world. Scotland are there as well.
Scotland not getting out of there.
Great. We'll no doubt talk about this draw probably in every show as we go along. I mean, it is. But one thing I do want to say with you, so I'm pretty confident, and Marcus confirmed that it's not the case of an easy draw to the final. But, Gav, to your point, so now let's just say Australia and England make the semi-finals.
Yeah.
Now they play against France, and let's just say France and South Africa are the 2 teams from the other side of the draw that go through. South Africa have had massive test matches against Scotland, Ireland, plus New Zealand in this case, then it would have to be in their quarterfinal. France have had to play, New Zealand, but they'll come through their group comfortably in first or second, and then they've had a big quarterfinal. I think, there's going to be something to that, a little bit of extra freshness that an Australia or an England would have in the semi-finals that might make it a little bit closer than people would be expecting. And to your point, there could be some value in one of those sides making the final.
I agree. I do agree. I just think that the lesser side is always something to... The value's there. I mean, these teams have all got big prices. All the 4 teams with crap prices or short prices on one side or in one bunch. They're going to end up playing each other. And obviously, I mean, we've heard it before. You want to win the World Cup, you've got to win the final. You've got to beat everybody in your way. And also, I've heard coaches going, I can only play what's in front of me. So they're right. They are right. Of course, they're right.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. This game, I tend to agree with you as well. If I was going to get involved in this game, what I might be looking at here is something like an England by 1 to 12 points. One of those, you'll get 17 to 10, or either team by 1 to 7 points, which would probably be around the 13 to 10 mark or something like that. And I'm talking just for a small interest, not for anything major. Just for the sake of having
let's put the disclaimer out straight away, Brent. This is small stuff only. If you're going big here, you either know something or you're an absolute gambler, and I'm not a gambler. So, yeah, I'm not going into these games with massive money. Absolutely not. This is small stuff. 1/8, 1/4, whatever. I will watch them, and I think, as I said earlier, the right thing to do here is watch the game, analyze it. See what works for each team, what doesn't. Make notes, because when you get into that World Cup, if you've got your little book and you've got your notes, and I'll show you my book. I've got a book. I got a book, and it says it's got Oracle written over there in the corner. Where's my camera? There.
Yeah, I don't think our cameras are good enough to pick that up.
Right.
Looks like you spent on.
I got a pen.
Is it an iPad or a book? Is it an iPad or a book?
No, it's a book.
It's a book.
It's got pages.
Okay.
I write in a book every day. I make notes, and these are the kind of games I'm going to watch them, and I'm going to make notes. So when it comes time to making money, I'm not looking at this. I'm not trying to make money this weekend. I won't try and make money next weekend. You don't have to make money every weekend. It's about making notes. You make notes here. I promise you, when the World Cup comes, you've got your notes, you've got everything ready. You're ready to go. This is a tough weekend. You know what? You're talking about these games, Brent. Last week, I considered backing Namibia. Namibia were playing Argentina's B team. I didn't see a price, and I thought to myself, this will probably be a close game. They lost by 7, and they're also in the World Cup. So this is not about just watching these top teams. This is watching and analyzing what the smaller teams are doing as well. I mean, we'll never forget that Uruguay-Fiji game where Uruguay came out and beat Fiji. But what did it tell us? As soon as they won the next game, they'd won their World Cup. They got thumped in the next game. And you might remember that tennis match with, I can't even remember who they were. They played over 5 days at Wimbledon. There were 140 or 160 games. And they've changed the rule now. They've got the tiebreaker that goes to 10. But what did that game tell us?
Oh, I know which game you mean. It
was Jack
Isner or something was involved in it, I think.
But I'll tell you, Brent, I didn't make money on that game. You know where I made money? I made money on the next game. Why? Because I realized that oak had played, the winner of that game had played for 5 days, 180 games. There's no ways that oak was waking up to beat another guy on his next game. I cleaned up on the next match. Cleaned up. I loaded up, I deposited, and I fired. I didn't even know what the oak's name was. So whoever's playing this guy's going to win.
There's the names there. It's Isner v. Mahut.
Yeah, that's right. Mahut and Isner. Yeah. Whoever won the game, they lost the next one. And they got thumped. And I made money on that game. And this is exactly the Uruguay-Fiji scenario. So this World Cup and leading up to the World Cup is about understanding what teams' limitations are. Let's think outside the box here. We're not trying to find 3 handicaps on a weekend with Super Rugby or URC. This is proper. You want to make money in this World Cup, it starts now. It starts with analysis. It starts making notes in your little book and writing down and acting on what you've got and your information. And if you get it wrong, you're right there. I've got it wrong. We go to the next game with a clean sheet and we know what we do. And Fareed's right. Friendlies are unpredictable. I mean, that Cornet cricket game, I lost money on that game. I thought I was clever, got involved, 2005, 2006, whatever it was. Don't get involved in friendlies. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I've had a few horror stories in the spread bettings. I wouldn't call them friendlies, but dead rubbers in Super Rugby where
dead rubbers,
play for. Same sort of thing. The guys don't have as much to play for. Of course, the one thing about World Cup friendlies is, yes, guys are playing for places and that will at least ensure the intensity is there. Right, Gav, we've got a nice big handicap here. Ireland minus 24.5 against Italy and a points line of 50.5. I'm going to kick off here and say, look, this is not a handicap I want to get involved with. But I do think that we could get points in this game. Ireland, by their very nature, seem to score a lot of points. They normally hit early and score points. So I'm going to stick my neck out straight away and say a nibble for me here on the over 50.5. What do you make of this one?
Brent, I'm going to tell you that this is the kind of game you can take the minus with because this handicap should probably be 50. So Ireland, even in their C team training with blindfolds on, will beat Italy by 25. I don't know what Italy are going to try and do here, but this is again a 1/8 bet here, 1/8 unit. But you can take the minus with comfort. This one definitely seems too small. And if there are players in that Irish team that are trying out and trying to impress people, they will do well. And just Italy have done absolutely nothing for me. I mean, that half Scottish team last week beat them by 13 points. I can't see it. 24, 35 isn't even enough here. So yeah, if I probably will have a bet on this. Again, not a big bet, but I'll have a bet on this and I'll analyze what I see.
Right. It seems like the guys in the live chat very much in agreement with you on that one. I'm going to skim through that. That's basically, if I could call it, the bigger internationals. I'm just going to skim very quickly through the other games. We've got Samoa against Tonga. I don't really have any view on this one, Gavin, yourself?
Yeah, so last week Samoa played Fiji, and I remember looking at the prices, and Fiji were the outsiders. And I had a bet on this, a small bet, a couple $100. And I thought to myself, how's Fiji the outsider here? Fiji are always better than Samoa. It doesn't matter where they play. They should be favourites. And I won a little bit of money on that. It was small, but yeah.
They were like +3.5. And I know that the guys I had on the handicap was Mondo and Henrik, and they both said Fiji on the board.
Yeah.
And you, yeah.
Is Samoa at home here? I don't know. Again,
I'm actually not sure. Sometimes these games.
These are these 3:00 in the morning games on Saturday morning, and they don't give you live stuff.
Yeah, no, we don't even get proper coverage of it here. And also sometimes these games are not played at, they might be played at one ground, one after another. I'm not saying that's the case here, but yes. Yeah, if you are going to back Samoa on the basis that they're at home, double check that they're at home before you make any moves there.
In fact, it hasn't even made the list of games on Saturday. It might even be Friday, that match. When is that?
I think it's on Saturday as well. Fareed probably got the best advice. He stay away from this game.
Stay away from the game, correct, yeah.
Fiji good for him as well. Yes, Fareed, I remember you in the live chat last week on Fiji as well. Well, let's get to Fiji's game then. Playing against Japan. Japan here are the favourites at +3.5. Gavin, Japan rugby seems to have regressed since, the last World Cup, which they obviously hosted. They actually seem to be going in the wrong direction. And Fiji look to have a side that is capable of causing an upset in the World Cup. I haven't really looked at the sides here on that, but my gut would tell me that Fiji might be the value here on the board again.
No, I'm going to say if Japan are plus and you're getting above even money, take Japan. It's only if they're playing in Japan. If they're not playing in Japan, I'm going to go with you and say go Fiji at -3.5. Small bet again, nothing big. But if Japan are at home, regression or not, they do play a little bit differently when they're at home with their crowd. They've done well at home. They haven't done well overall, but they've certainly done enough at home. And this is you'd probably call this a level game. If these two teams are playing in Durban tomorrow or Cape Town or Joburg, you'd say it's a level game. +3.5 for me is the value. I'd just take Japan to win here. Small bet though.
Right. Fareed saying he's on Fiji there. Well, let's go on to the last game I'm going to bring up in this particular show, Gab. We've got Uruguay -8.5 against your Namibians. And Namibia, you said last week, lost to the Argentina 15. So you're not surprised to find them underdogs here.
So Uruguay at home for this game. They are, I say they're at home. They're listed on the left-hand side.
Yeah, they are. We can probably assume that they're at home. It's a long trip for Namibia, but maybe they took the same flight over to South America or South Africa to go play Argentina. So probably if the guys in the live chat might. I mean, these are not the sort of games I'm getting involved in. I really brought them up more for interest in case anyone in the live chat said they've done their homework, get on Uruguay or get on Namibia.
No, I'll have a bet on this game, and I'll back Namibia, and I'll back them because they'll be probably 5-2, maybe as close, as close to 3-1. A small bet again, but I think the value is definitely with Namibia. They've beaten them over there before. I did some research on this, but it's World Cup time, and Namibia have been perennial World Cuppers. Uruguay haven't. Namibia can win this game, and there's value there. I wouldn't be taking 3-10 or 1-4 Uruguay, even -8. It's not worth it for me. For me, Namibia is the value. Plus all
right. Board. Well, that pretty much brings us there. Now, I'm not expecting any solid, convincing best bets here, Gab. But of the games that we discussed, what sort of stands out for you as possibly the best bet or bets on the card?
I think Argentina beat us. Namibia, I like No, that's it.
Well, what's our bet? We got the beer on again. Aussie points. I've got
Australian
19
points.
or more. Eh?
Yeah. But
Excellent.
I don't consider that to be in my best bets. That's not.
No. That's just an excuse to have a drink with me.
I want to drink beer with you, and I want you to pay for it. Correct. That's all it is.
Correct. So I will be bringing a newsletter best bet out. I got it horribly wrong last week. I was overs on box points at Ellis Park. I mean, coming up to half time, I still thought I had a chance.
They should have got them.
Eh?
I mean, they
should have got them. Yeah.
The first half, my wife said to me, "Oh, Faf's on the field," and like Dylan goes, "Yeah, but he shouldn't be there. He's there because the other got injured." I don't know if he's all right. Actually, I haven't even seen the news, but I should have known as soon as that I got injured because we liked him in that game against Australia a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he was good.
You know, when that happened, I realised this might not go the way I wanted. I liked South Africa on the day. And then South Africa got 9 points in front and they were okay. But then Argentina did what they normally do. They took their kicks and they always work. I know they missed a few. Geez, remember that? We were talking 2013, that bet we had when I was working at Hollywood. All kicks to count. Argentina won this game by a country mile. I mean, they missed so many.
They missed a lot of kicks.
Yeah. Argentina won this game if it wasn't for the kicks. So I just like Argentina this weekend. I think it's their last game before they go to the World Cup. We've just had our last game. We know how the fans came out. I like them. And, tricky little nibble there. I like Namibia to beat Uruguay. And I'm going to say my third best bet, if you want to make a treble out of it, is go Japan on the board. So Japan, Namibia, Japan win, Japan board, Namibia plus, and Argentina board. There's my treble. I don't know what that works out.
That'll be a nice price. And yes, Johannes treble. France, Scotland over 45.5. Argentina plus 4.5. Ireland minus 23.5 at 5.8 to 1. I'm definitely leaning towards those points, Johan, in that Scotland game, the France-Scotland game as well. I'm very much starting to lean overs there. I think we're going to get some points, and we've got a juicy line to get involved in that one. Mark making a comment. He made 2 comments, actually. Is Pollard out of the World Cup, Mark? Not to my knowledge. I know he's...
we don't know that yet.
Coming back, but we don't know. I think at this stage, he's certainly not officially out. We're certainly hoping he'll play here in South Africa. And he says the new Irish rugby jersey is horrific. I haven't seen that one yet. And Farida says, Oracle, leave Japan alone. That's his advice to you.
But Brent, I also got to make a comment on that Pollard thing. We're a big rugby nation with regards to the world rugby. We've won the last World Cup. Why do we not know? Why does the man in the street not know Pollard's situation? I mean, he's the oak that he won the golden boot or whatever. I don't know what they call it over there, but obviously we won lots of money. We had backed him at 7-2. In fact, we backed him at 6-1 to win, to get the most points. He was massive. And now here, everyone's talking about Pollard here. I see him in articles, but no one's telling, where is he? Is he sitting in a house in Bloemfontein? Is he in a retreat in Newcastle in KZN? Where is the oak? Is he at Sun City surfing the waves? No one knows where the oak is. Tell us. We're the public. We're putting money on this stuff. Tell us what's going on. Be open. This is the JSE of rugby. Tell us what's going on. We need the information.
No, fair enough. Hey, Gav, anything else for you on the weekend that you get? I know you follow your horses quite closely, but no, you don't have to give anything. But anything that you're looking forward to on the weekend from a sporting perspective?
Brent, I really need to just stress to everybody, and as Fareed had commented after my comment, is don't try and win money every weekend. It doesn't work. When you've got your 15 weeks of Super Rugby or URC, that's fine. But in weeks like this, these are weekends off. Nothing wrong with going for the weekend. Go away for the weekend. Take your wife, take your kids. Rugby World Cup is coming up. You're going to be involved for five weeks. Do research on weekends like this. Have a few small bets, but really do your research. Write in your book. Be ready for the World Cup because that's where the money is. Don't try and make money this weekend or next weekend, or even the weekend after. Really, that's my advice. Small stuff, enjoy, and take notes. You'll thank me. You'll thank me on the 3rd of November, 29th of October, whenever the final is. You'll thank me.
Yeah, good point. I think now's the time for some good analysis. Fareed saying Pollard is a special player, but anything can happen on a rugby field. Rushy should have bought in a replacement for Yankees earlier. He's saying Mark Hain on SA Rugby said Pollard is out. It is possible. It is possible that Pollard is out, and I don't even know about it. But at this stage, I thought he was still an option to go through. But Gab, we'll definitely talk some long-term betting on that as we go through. Just in terms of other sport on this weekend, there is the netball. Now, I'll say straight, I really battle to watch a full netball game. I've said it before, netball people get angry with me. The shooting's too easy. You need a different point scoring system or make the hoop higher or something like that. But it will be quite interesting to see how things go in the semi-finals. I'll probably write a little betting preview or something for that. Anything? Yeah, there's not much else. Of course, the Ashes is finished. Not much else to watch, eh?
Brent, let's talk about Ashes for a second. So England won one game, drew one game, or drew two games. I don't even know what.
Well, they won two, lost two, drew one. Yeah.
I backed them in the first game. I lost. I backed them in the third game when they were 2-0 down, and I obviously got caught with the weather. I don't like what cricket did, ICC or whoever's in control of it. They could have played extra hours on the first couple of days. I think they've got to start thinking. They've got to start moving into the 21st century. I backed England at 18-10 before the test started. In fact, I actually pressed at 12-10 when they were on day 2. I got really annoyed that. I mean, I know I lost because of the weather. But the people that beat me, or the punters that backed the draw, they were weather punters. And I just don't like weather punting. I've never liked it ever. Anyway, let's go to netball. So I'll tell you, I was very disappointed that a lot of bookmakers didn't have netball when the tournament started. I don't know if you noticed. The first day there were a lot of them didn't have handicaps. It's almost like they woke up on the first day and go, oh, there's a tournament. That's rubbish. Come on, get ready for it. But I'll tell you, the commentary. You're talking about commentary. That was rubbish. If you watched that game last night, and I didn't watch the whole game. I watched probably from about 38, 36 or 38, 35, whatever it was. I watched the last 20 odd points in the game. The commentators are telling you what you're seeing. Gavin passed to Brent. Brent passed to Henrik. Henrik passed to whoever. I can see that, bro. Tell me. And those referees are blowing the whistle. No one says anything about why they're blowing the whistle. I don't have daughters.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I've watched my daughter play netball, so I've got some idea. But they don't get off the whistle, and you hear, so they're blown up. But you're right. The commentators haven't once said the reason for that whistle blow is because of contact or whatever. That's a good point. I agree with you.
I noticed there was that the protector on the pole. I remember at school we never had that. We had a pole.
You used to bounce the ball. The girls were allowed to bounce the ball off the pole.
Yeah, if they hit the pole and they fell on the floor, they fell on the floor. That was it. Today they safe. And last night the chick got injured with 3 minutes to go or 2 minutes to go. Then she's lying there. They say nothing to us. They don't tell us why she's injured or how it happened. I was very disappointed with the commentary. I got to tell you, Brent, I'm going to have a go at whoever is listening here. 700 Rand a ticket, Brent. I want you to go. I live down the road from there. 700 Rand a ticket. And you're going to tell me those people in the stands last night were paying tickets? No ways. I'm going to tell you, they say there's 6,000 seats. They probably sold 500. They gave the rest to family, friends, and politicians and mayors and whoever in the thing. And they probably sold 500 tickets. And I tell you, I watched the crowd last night. I looked at them like I was watching. I couldn't identify a single oak who had actually lifted 700 Rand out of his wallet to pay for a ticket. The other games have been empty. There's a lot of games that have been absolute. There's been seats that are empty. I think they missed a big trick. What they should have done is when GG Gaming was sponsoring the show all those years ago, when Federer and Nadal came and played in Cape Town Stadium, they should have put the netball court in the middle of Cape Town Stadium, charged people 2,000 Rand to sit around the court, and charged 50 Rand to the oaks sitting in the crowds, in the stands, having their beer, watching the game. I would have happily gone to watch netball for 50 Rand, 700 Rand. Sorry, bro. I'm staying at home. I'm having my beer. I'm watching on TV. And I'm hitting the mute button because your commentators aren't telling me anything. So that's the netball. And what's with the draw? 48 all. Play. It's a knockout situation.
Look,
it goes to the semi-final.
It's not actually a knockout situation. It's like a soccer World Cup. It's a group stage. I think you'll have.
No, but there's 6 teams there. Surely
You're 6 in that group, but there's another group of 6 as well. So it's still group stages. But I hear you.
I hear you, and I understand that. But I got to say, the American system is better. What's this draw crap? Play till there's a winner. Play overtime. Get a winner and give them the points and move on. Because we could have won that game last night. Now we're playing for 5th place. Jamaica had beaten New Zealand today. Apparently, we had to win by 50. We were never beating
64.
Uganda
We had to
50.
win by 64.
And I got one more thing to say. Sorry, I got one more thing to say, Brent. Saturday night, South Africa's playing netball at the same time South Africa's playing rugby. What is that?
Yeah.
They play netball on TV in front of an audience every 4 years, and you want to go and stick it on the exact same hour South Africa's playing rugby. I mean, who's in control of that crap? Now, make a decision. Do a double header. Put one at 5, one at 7, one at 7, one at 9. What are you doing? We all want to watch. We've got streaming. I can't. I switch on my phone. It goes, sorry, you're on your TV. I can't watch 2 channels. So what do? I mean, if they want the public to buy into this, don't put 2 national teams playing any sport at the same time. And as for that Banyana, my gosh, I laid a bet. I laid out 25 to 1 they qualify. I lost. I'm in trouble. I have to pay the guy. They scored 6 goals. In fact, they scored 5 and Italy scored 1.
Hell of impressive. I haven't watched any of it, but I mean, they came from behind to beat Italy.
Let me tell you, the bookmakers haven't got this team right. They'll win the next game. Whoever they're playing, I think they're playing Netherlands.
They played Netherlands, but Netherlands I'm sure the Netherlands made the final of Euro.
Don't worry about that, Brent. This team's on fire. Back Banyana to win this game, the next game they play. In fact, you can put that as a quad with my 3 rugby wins. This game they win. So, no, I'm telling you, this team is not rubbish. That goalkeeper's good. Those attackers are good. I watched that whole game yesterday. I died. I lost money on it. In fact, when they went 1-0 down, they went 25 to 1 to win the game. I still said, geez, I should back them now. And I didn't. Banyana, I promise you, the bookmakers in Europe that price these games up, they don't know about our soccer team. This team is a runner. They can win.
And 9 to 1, Gav. I've just seen 9. I popped over 9 to 1 to win the game.
9 to 1, get on, bro. I promise you. That one you can put more than you're going to put on Argentina to beat South Africa.
Excellent. Well, I haven't watched any of it yet, but I'll probably get a little bit involved in that one. Oh, what is it? Mark Thayer, Oracle, I'll hold you to that. Netherlands will win. He's pretty confident in the net. Look, Netherlands are a bit of a powerhouse as far as women's soccer goes.
Mark, at 9 to 1, I promise you. 9 to 1. Doesn't matter who you're backing, a horse, a soccer team, or rugby. You're not going broke at 9 to 1.
No, fair enough. You won't go broke there. Anyway, Gavin, it was great catching up with you again, mate. I'm looking forward to, not only chatting to you again soon. I don't know, depending on our bet outcome, I'm not sure when we're going to have the opportunity, but hopefully it will be in the next few months, the opportunity to drink those beers together. And otherwise, thanks to all the boys in the live chat as well. It was great having you on. I think all of us as punters, and you can sense it even in the chat with the guys, Gav, everyone's sort of, yes, we want to watch these rugby games, but no one's wanting to fire. A lot of us, like me, have been a bit burnt in the rugby championships as well.
Seriously, just analyse.
Take ease our way into the World Cup.
Just take this weekend and analyse. Spend some time and take notes. I promise you'll thank me when this World Cup's over.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
You'll do well.
Excellent. Thanks. Great having the Oracle back. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next week, 9 o'clock for the Handicap Rugby Chat that matters.